Today's learning target for 1-6 is I can use order of operations to evaluate algebraic expressions. Now, let's see if you remember. Does anybody remember PEMDAS? These are how you do it. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now, the P stands for parentheses, but it also could be all the other grouping terms. This right here is called absolute value. So I think of P, it could also be a G for grouping. E is for exponent. So first you do your parentheses, then you do your exponents. Then multiplication and division, you kind of do together. So M is multiply, D is division, but you always go left to right. So if you actually had 4 divided by 2 times 2, you would start with the 4 divided by 2 and get 2, then times 2 to get 4. The big common mistake is to do that first, which is not what you want to do. And the A and the S is the same thing, addition and subtraction. Again, you go left to right. So if you happen to have something like 11 minus 6 plus 2, you would first go 11 minus 6 is 5, then add your 2 to get 7. Let's do some examples. The first one, it says simplify each expression. Now, number 1, let's go ahead and let's write PEMDAS down here. So we know that we can cross it off and we're done. Well, there's no parentheses, so we know we're not going to have to use that. Now, this negative right here is really important. Remember, it's negative 1 times 4 squared plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. So we're going to first do our exponent, 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. Negative 1 times 16 plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. We're done with our exponent. Now we're on to multiplication and division. And remember to go left to right. So let's do, what's negative 1 times 16? Well, that's just negative 16 plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. We can do this portion left to right. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So negative 16 plus 8 times 2. Now we can finish our multiplication. 8 times 2 is 16. Negative 16 plus 16 is 0. Did our multiplication, our division, our addition, and there was no subtraction. Number 2, we're going to go left to right. But if we have division with fractions, remember you keep it, you switch it, and you flip it to 2 over 1 times 3. Now it's a lot easier. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 3 is going to be 48. Number 3 is a nice big one. Remember, you're going to do your PEMDAS. So do your intermost parentheses first, which is my 3 minus 1.5. So your 2.4 stays, plus 4 times the quantity of 3 squared, minus 2 times 3 minus 1.5 is just 1.5. End your parentheses, end your bracket. Keep working on your parentheses. Let's do our exponent inside of there and get 9. 2.4 plus 4 times the quantity of 9 minus, well, 2 times 1.5 is 3. Still working in those parentheses. 9 minus 3 is 6. So you get 2.4 plus 4 times, because it's next to a grouping, you know it's multiplication, 6. Now we can do our multiplication. 4 times 6 is 24. 2.4 plus 24 is 26.4. And there you have your 3 answers for 1, 2, and 3. Number 4. This time when it says 1 minus 0 minus x times 6 for x equals 3, this just means substitute 3 in for x. So you have 1 minus 0 minus 3, and I always put it in parentheses, times 6. PEMDAS, there's no parentheses, so let's do our multiplication. 3 times 6 is 18. 1 minus 0 minus 18. 1 minus 0 is 1. Minus 18, remember, change it to add the opposite. So 1 plus negative 18 is negative 17. Number 5, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to substitute negative 2 in for x. So you end up with 4 squared times, in parentheses, negative 2 plus 3. Because we're doing our PEMDAS, we have to do our parentheses first. Negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. 4 squared times positive 1. Now let's do our exponent. 4 squared is 16 times 1 is just 16. I always like to underline what I'm doing. Now for number 6, when you have that big division, you can simplify the numerator and the denominator at the same time. So let's do something on the top and something on the bottom. Let's do our 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 plus 22. And let's do our exponent down here of 4 squared, which is 16 minus 9. Well, negative 8 plus 22 is 14. 16 minus 9 is 7. Keep on simplifying. 14 divided by 7 is positive 2. Number 7, these are your absolute values. You treat them like parentheses. You treat absolute value like parentheses inside first. So let's do our exponent. 4 squared is 16. So 3 times absolute value, and I like to make them real big so I can tell they're absolute value and they're not ones. 16 plus 8 divided by 2. Oh, nice big absolute value. 8 divided by 2, well, that's 4. So you have 3 times the absolute value of 16 plus 4, absolute value. 16 plus 4 is 20. 3 times the absolute value of 20. Well, how far away is 20 from 0? It's 20 spaces. 3 times 20 is 60. Number 8, you treat square root like parentheses. Treat square root like parentheses. So 50 minus 1 is 49. 3 times the square root of 49. What's the square root of 49? What times itself? What times itself is 49? 7. So 3 times 7 is 21. Number 9. Number 9, we have 5 squared. Again, we're going to do the numerator and the denominator, some things at the same time. Do your parentheses first. You have 5 squared minus 9. Inside there first, and you get the absolute value of negative 4. Well, let's do our 5 squared is 25 minus 9 over the absolute value of 4 is positive 4. 25 minus 9 is 16 over 4, which is just simply 4. Now we're going to translate a word phrase into a numerical or algebraic expression. The first one says, the sum of the quotient. Remember, when we're translating, whatever comes first, since it's sum, that's plus, that's going to go in the middle. What comes next will go on the left, and what comes last will go on the right. So what came next? The sum of the quotient. So I know this is division over here of 12, so that goes on the top, that came first, and negative 3, that goes on the bottom. And the square root, that and is kind of where that plus sign went, the square root of 25. It just simply says translate, so we're done. It doesn't say to simplify. If it says simplify, then we would actually need to do the math portion. The difference, subtraction of y, that goes on the left, and the product, this is on the right. So you have multiplication on the right. 4 goes again on the left of that product, and y over 2. If you have two operations, I like to put them in parentheses so that you know that you're subtracting that whole thing. So put the second or the first if it is in operation in parentheses. So up here, that would have been nice in parentheses as well. Number 12, a shop offers gift wrapping services at 3 different price levels. The amount of money collected for wrapping gifts on a given day can be found using the expression. That tells me something important is coming next. I'm going to underline it because that's very important. On Friday, they wrapped 10 basic packages B, 6 super packages S, and 5 deluxe packages D. Use the expression to find the amount of money collected for gift wrapping on Friday. So I'm going to write out my 2B, where B is my basic packages, plus 4S, where S is my super packages, plus 7D, where D are my deluxe. So I can just substitute these numbers in. For B, I'm going to have 2 times 10, plus 4 times how many super? There were 6, plus 7 times how many deluxe packages? There were 5. And you can actually do 3 different multiplications at the same time when they're separated by addition. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 4 times 6 is 24, plus 7 times 5 is 35. Let's add left to right. 20 plus 24 is 44, plus 35. 44 plus 35 gives me 79. Now this is not correct because it says find the amount of money collected. So you need to label it. $75 collected on Friday.